a program for an obese client. Now, that word obviously is not politically correct. I would never use that in context with a client. But for purposes of the discussion today in designing a program for someone who is morbidly obese, that's what we're going to refer to them as. As you know, we like to be politically correct, so we like to give people names. We won't use the actual name of her, Mark, but does anyone want to give her a name today? She's 43 years young.
Annie.
Annie. So I'm going to read this. Mark's going to chime in. Again, one of the benefits of the class, if you look at how most people get certified, they get a textbook, they go through, they get certified. It has case examples in the back, which I don't think have ever been tested. I think they just write them out one day because they're so unrealistic and they don't really prep you to be successful. So one of the great things about the internship, biasly, obviously, but is you get to go through situations like this where you have a client. We're going to take Mark's client through what we feel would be an appropriate workout. Then he gets to take her through it, and then we get feedback from him. And it's just like prepping for a game. Do you think that Clemson prepped for all these different scenarios against Ohio State? I bet you they did, but they just got beat on a better. They played better on that day. It doesn't mean that necessarily they're a better team, but at that day they were. So you can prep all you want, but the realistic thing you guys need to understand is that when you train this individual, rarely is it going to be like that template. And I think that's where trainers get a little uneasy, anxious, like me today, is that if it doesn't go to plan, we don't have these side caveats. And so understand that the program is a template, but if you focus on the pattern, it makes it so much easier because in the untrained young mind, if we're going to do a squat, let's say we call it a goblet squat, and for whatever reason, all of the dumbbells, maybe there's a camera crew in there today in front of the dumbbells, you're like, oh shit, I didn't plan for that. So now you start freaking out, what's another exercise I'm going to do? Versus when you understand movement, you just take a step back and say, okay, it's no biggie. It's just a squat pattern. What do I want to do? I can sit down in a chair. I can do a TRX. It's okay if I want to do a step up. There's nothing wrong with that. So we have Annie here. She's 43 years old. Mark, tell us how you met her and how that conversation, how it went.
You got it, Chris. Thank you. So I got her through bark.com, which is very similar to Thumbtack.
Is that like a Bark, B-A-R-K?
BARK.com. It's similar to Thumbtack, but in my opinion, it's much more, I get a lot more people that are interested in training. So you pay for the lead, you pay like $50, you get a certain amount of credits, and then you pay for the lead. What I used to do was email them right away, but I started on the journey of calling them immediately. I got her right on the phone. This was all yesterday. So I got her lead yesterday. I called her yesterday. I had a 1-hour conversation with her last night and actually hopped off of, our call yesterday to get on with her. She's 43 years old. She is an executive director for an underwriting for insurance. She works from home now. She's been there for 20 years. She's behind a desk 8 hours a day. She is 300 pounds. She's 5'6". So her BMI is, at a 48. And I will tell you this, she was extremely energetic. She was not, fat shaming herself. She was talking about how it really bothered her through her life, but she's excited. She used to work out. She was actually 330 pounds. She lost the first 30 on her own with the help of some boot camps. It got a little bit too much for her because I think they were giving her too much at once, in my opinion, based off of what she was telling me. And she felt like she was slowing the class down because there was other people in the class. So, I felt bad for that, but she was very energetic. We talked a lot about anatomy. She had 5 or 6 trainers that called her. And literally by the time we hung up, she said, you know what, I'm not calling anybody else back. I am absolutely going with you because of the amount of time that you spent. We talked a little bit about anatomy and just the basics of training, and she loved it. So she was very clear on her goals. She said, look, I would love to lose weight. I would, but I know realistically I'm not going to lose, what I want to lose. I want to lose 100 pounds. I know that's not going to happen in a year. I'm okay with that. I just want to tighten up my booty. I want to feel better in my clothes, and I'm okay with where I'm at. I just want to be better. I want to feel better. I want to be able to sit up easier. So she gave me a lot of good intel. It was a great conversation, and she signed up for a month. And I appreciate you taking this. Within 24 hours, you took this and aired it tonight. So I appreciate you doing that, Chris.
Yeah, it's great. It's part of the benefits, right? Here, so first thing that goes through my mind is helping this individual to set realistic expectations. So in class this morning, we went through our SMART goals. And so, as you mentioned, the assessment part is over, but for those of you that come across someone in the future in a similar situation, always just let them talk. I think a good rule is between 70 to 80% of the time they're speaking, you're just asking questions, you're making it fun. Like you said, that she wasn't fat shaming. I've had some clients that just are just a kick, and they'll be like, Chris, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a fat fuck. And I'll kind of giggle about him, but it's like, obviously you're not going to say that to a client, but you will have some characters, and it makes it so much more like the tension's gone. Because when you see something like 300 pounds, that's a big individual. The largest person I ever worked with was when I did my first book, The Vulgar Truth Diet. I had a 100, I'm not joking, 120-inch tape measure. And I didn't feel comfortable measuring this girl because I didn't think it would get around her. And so, 300 pound, if you do a measurement on that, the BMI, body mass index, you're looking at, close to 50, 48.5 or so. Dr. Nadolski did a great post, and it just, his thread was just lit up. I appreciate the guy because he's one of those docs that practices what he preaches because he's a fitness guy, great shape. His brother's also a doc as well. Super, super intelligent, but he knows how to push the buttons, and he's been putting some pretty racy memes out there, and it's pretty comical because it's very sexual and people lose their shit. But the recent one was about BMI, and everyone lost their shit. Like, oh, what do you mean? It's such a bad indicator, blah, blah, blah. It's like, let's take a step back for a second and just understand what it is. So body mass index is a guesstimation of your height and your weight. Technically, it's your weight in kilograms and your height in meters squared. So how my mind focuses on that is think of BM. So mass is the first one. So move mass over. On the top, it's kilograms squared. On the bottom, it's meters squared. So it's actually just kilograms meters squared. And so it's a fine indicator. It would be like someone sending you a tape in sport and it was 30 seconds long of them in a game. I can learn a lot from that. I'm not going to say, oh, this is an end all be all. It's just a small piece of the equation. Sure, I'd rather do measurements. Sure, I'd rather do body fat. Sure, a hydrostatic test and blood lipid profile and blood pressure. Yes, those are all superior. But within that moment, I can gather so much from that piece of information. I would agree that if you're judged off of it, if someone says, oh, I'm not going to train you because you're obese with the BMI, that's bullshit. You should be an educated enough trainer to understand it's just one small piece of the equation. So I actually, because of how many uneducated trainers despise BMI, I love the BMI just to piss people off because it is a fine indicator. Let's be honest, in New York, maybe it's a little chilly right now, but in San Diego, LA, if I walk down the street and if I were to survey just visually 100 people, I would put significantly more people, 70, 80, 90% of the people I walk by to being overweight or obese. That's just the state we live in. And so internationally, I don't know how it is in other countries. I've heard different things. One of the things my parents said when they went to Russia was that's the first thing that stood out. Everyone was slender because they're walking everywhere. And so BMI is just a piece of the equation. She's 5'6", 300 pounds. It's a big individual. So one of the things that I would just kind of go through, it's like, would you rather weigh 250 in 2 months, or would you rather weigh 290 in 12 months? It's like a little hypothetical equation, right? And let's see, actually, let me clarify this and go 300. Make it better. There we go. So that first part is attractive. You've lost 50 pounds in 2 months. Could you do that? Sure. If she were to go on a crazy crash diet and start walking and taking classes and doing these camps and everything, she could easily lose 25 pounds a month. She could easily lose 25 pounds a month. There's a back thing right there. So what I would want is to ask this question. What do you think she's going to say?
She's going to get excited and go for the first option.
You know, I think if you propose this part, maybe you didn't hear it, Nick. I think if you tell her you're going to weigh 250 in 2 months, but at the end of the year, you're going to weigh 300.
Oh, yeah, I didn't get that. Yeah, the second one.
So now what we're doing is we're setting realistic expectations. So it's like the game. It's a game where you pick it and you get a briefcase and you get money. What's that called? Deal or no deal. It's like everyone wants the big prize. But if you tell someone it's like you're going to win 500 and you just focus on that 500, you're going to be okay. So let's give her realistic expectations. So if you were to lose, 1 to 2 pounds in a month and you were consistent, then you're going to be at 290, 280, 290 by the end of the year versus losing a boatload, but being back right where you were at the beginning of the year. And statistically speaking, according to the studies that they've done with like the Biggest Loser, it would actually be closer to probably 320. They gain anywhere from 5 to 10% more weight after the fact. So let's set realistic goals. Maybe you can change this up a little bit to make it, 280. You can even go as much as like 240 here because people will lose 20, 30. Look at the Biggest Loser. They would lose 15, 20 pounds a week. And so you can lose scale weight. But what we're trying to do here, Annie, is set a realistic lifestyle for you. Where if you want to have some cheesecake, you can have some cheesecake. Oh, by the way, Annie, what's your favorite food? What's your number one thing? For me, I love burritos. I'm a burrito guy. I love going to the little authentic Mexican food spots and getting a big ass burrito. That's my favorite. What about you, Annie? And so by telling her that story, she's kind of calming down and her guard's coming down. Like, oh, this guy's talking about a big ass burrito. I like I was just reading a book and they've talked about, I've never had them before. Have you guys ever had White Castle? Never had that.
Yep.
Is that amazing? Is that like the thing?
They used to be amazing, yeah.
I don't know, in California, everyone gets they get all excited about In-N-Out. I just don't get it. I prefer like a gourmet burger, but that's just me. I'm a weirdo. But I want to bring down that guard. And so then, I'm going to listen to her. And she said some really great stuff in here about, she did like these activities, but she did feel a little insecure because she's holding people back. And that's terrible. And I really feel for her. I'm not going to say that, but it's like you should never feel for the other people in your class like you're holding them back. So that's one of the benefits of working with me, Annie, is that you can voice this to her that, this is a private. Now, do you train her at your house or do you go to her, Mark?
So we're going to be doing 2 days a week on Zoom and 1 day a week at the house.
Your house or her house?
My house.
Nice. Great. So then you just set those expectations. Like, I'm really excited to work with you. It's going to be me and you. I'm going to be giving you feedback virtually for the first 2 sessions. The last one, we're going to fine tune everything to see what you're capable of. Don't expect, did you know if she played any sports or anything in high school, Mark?
No, not at all. But she's never been active.
Okay. So I always like to ask that. Maybe she liked a sport. She could say she liked soccer or whatever. I try to find something I can relate to. So maybe it's insurance and underwriting. That process can't be easy to learn. Now, imagine if I were to come into your work, would it be fair for you to set expectations for me to be as competent as you are within a week or 2? And she'd be like, oh, no way. Like, it's very complicated. I got to do all this stuff. Let them voice themselves. Just to put it into perspective, it's the same thing with exercise. We're going to go through a crazy journey in 2021. And I'll say little psychological things like that because I put her, it's like I'm putting her on my back, where we're doing this together. And I did it for the whole year. I didn't talk right about packages in the beginning. I'm talking about this journey that we're going to do together because I think if you're a great coach, and you are, Mark, you're going to be able to work with her for a couple of years minimum. And then she's going to go through a crazy transformation. And, you know, when she's 180, 200, whatever, she's going to be able to broadcast that. And you're the one who helped her with it. And we're not taking credit because she does all the hard work. I always call trainers, we're the Sherpas. We're going to show you the route, but you're doing the work. And so Mark wrote out a program, and I think this is a great transition. Any calculator will suffice for the BMI. You can just use these simple ones. If someone gives you their height and their weight, it gives me data. You will get at no point, even like Brock Lesnar, who's like an absolute stud, he wouldn't have a BMI this high. So like when you start getting to the morbidly obese care, so it's 30 to 40 is obese. Once you go above 40, morbidly obese, you're not going to have anomalies within that. Maybe Andre the Giant. That's about the only one that we may have. But this gives you a lot of data. So let's take a look at the program that Mark designed. And if you've not watched our video, I have a video out there. I'll put it in the little chat you can watch. And this is a video that we did a while back. Oh, shit, shut your mouth. Okay, so here. This is a video on progressions and regressions from an obese individual. So you take the patterns, squat, push, pull, hinge, unilateral. There are other patterns out there, as Mark, you're learning right now when you go through Dr. Davidson's book, and he talks about his long list of patterns. I think that those are awesome, obviously, but just keep it simple. So we have a squat pattern, a hinge pattern, a unilateral, push, and a pull. So how we like to program is you take one of those patterns and you put it into a circuit with another pattern, and then you're going to have an accessory movement. And that accessory movement is something that, think of it as Instagram worthy. That's something I like to call it. It's fun, it's cardio, it's an injury. We do not always have to do this B. If the client is morbidly obese, like in this situation, typically I want to keep it nice and light. I would want to do, before I get into the workout, are you seeing her first, Mark, or are you going to do a Zoom call first?
We're doing a Zoom call first.
Okay, so you'll train her, and then actually you'll do the Zoom, and then when you meet in person, if you have a cuff size large enough, which most of us don't order the large ones, so it's actually the thigh. You have to make sure to use that one because it can be an uncomfortable situation. Get the thigh cuff monitor. I would want to get her blood pressure. You could do a grip strength test. I'm not going to weigh her. I'm not going to do any measurements just because it would be uncomfortable, like she's on the spot. So I would just do a challenge here. So, you know, I think it'd be really cool for yourself and your own records to do a before and after. So today's 1:17, whenever she trains, take a photo. And then, you know, 4 months from now, when we start dropping weight, we compare the two. It's really neat to see. So this video will kind of go over the progressions and regressions. But what we're going to do here is Mark has body weight squats. So you take a goblet squat or a back squat, and then regress it to make it appropriate for the individual. Obviously, if she came in, or if I'm training Mark, who's been training for a while, and he tells me he's trying to increase his back squat by, you know, a couple percent, I'm not going to start him with a body weight squat. I'm going to go into the squat. I think that's where people can get confused or just too much information, system overload. When you start doing all those screens and shit where you try to do an FMS, you try to do an overhead squat analysis, and everything is just screen. It's like, the purpose here isn't to fucking find flaws in people. It's to see how they move and then help them move better and then overload that. You know, I can't appreciate enough Karate Kid movies and just wax on, wax off, wax on, just do it. That's how you're going to get better. So we take a body weight squat. Now, if she she's a big individual. So make sure to, as he says, have a chair behind her just in case. Maybe she's not used to the slow descent that you encourage. So if she were to fall, especially like in a gym environment, that would be mortifying for her. And that incident could just ruin the rest of her life. So you want to think about those scenarios where, okay, let's put some safety precautions there in your mind. Don't say it. We're going to put a chair here in case you fall, but you put the chair there. We're going to do 3x15. Now, my suggestion here, Mark, would be bump this back a little bit just for the first set. I want to see what she's capable of doing. I'm not going to get crazy. I'm going to keep it real light. I'm just going to say, I want to see how 6 to 8 feel, because you are going to complement this with a wall plank. And so instead of doing 15, because the legs, the quads, the hammies, the glutes, the adductors, the core, a lot of muscles are engaged. Her heart's going to be pumping a lot. She's been sitting at her desk as doing what she's doing for 8-10 hours a day. So 15 repetitions in a row, she probably hasn't done in a long time. So I'll just start real light. It's about just setting those expectations. What I want to do in the first round, we're going to do a circuit of 2 or 3 exercises. See how you hold up. We're going to take long rest periods. It's like the first play in a Super Bowl. It doesn't define everything. It's just one play, the next set of downs, the next set of downs, the next quarter. That's the mentality that we're going to take here, Andy, little by little. And so then I would do maybe 6 to 8, and then I'll do a wall plank. And a wall plank is just like a push-up. You hold that, and then maybe she touches her arms. Super easy. Add that service. Give her some water, towel. Keep her occupied. So what exactly is a freaking underwriter? I used to work at Bank of America, and I hear these, I don't even know what it is. Talk to me more about it, Andy. She tells me I'm observing her physiologically. What's going on? So one day, it's like if she's really laborious in her breathing, then okay, I'm going to rest even longer. But if she could be kicking ass. She's not old by any means. She's 42 years young. She's great. So she could just crush that first set of 6 to 8. Awesome. So then you can have her do 10 the next round into the wall planks again. And then if she's still doing really well, then you can progress into 15 reps. Now, if you have weight, Mark, that's when you can give her, 5-10 pounds for that second set, go up 5 or 10 pounds for that third set. You're just observing to see how she does. And then you give her feedback. Wow, Annie, you kicked ass on that time. Really, really good job. You'd be surprised at how many clients have a hard time doing body weight squats. You did awesome. Great job. So what we're going to do next is we're going to progress into another pattern. So as I told you before, we're going to do a couple circuits, 3 of them. We're going to sprinkle in some accessory stuff to help you just get a full muscle engagement throughout the workout. So this next circuit, we're going to do a push-up and some leg extensions because you have that or whatever. So you said you wanted to tone up. A wall push-up's a great thing to do. First set, again, 6 to 8. I'm not getting crazy with these. I'm just going to see what she's capable of doing. And if she crushes, though, now when you put in leg extensions, Mark, is that something that she has or you have, or what are you talking about?
So I was thinking of, number one, when she went to this boot camp, the instructor told her to do push-ups on her knees. So I laughed at that. I thought that was comical. But the seated leg extensions would be, depending on how she does, have her sit in a chair and just simply extend her leg out. Just get a leg extension, keep her toe pointed forward, and just see how she does with that, just to get a little bit of movement in the legs. I was trying to think of.
I got it. So what muscles primarily working when you do it, Mark?
The quad.
Yeah. So what did you say her goals were?
To tighten up her. She just wanted to tighten up everything. Tighten up her arm.
You specifically said booty, though.
She did say booty. She did.
So why not do those wall push-ups and then keep her on the wall and have her do 10, 15 leg lift backs?
Oh, okay.
And then when you're training her, what you can do is you can do the same workout, but now you can give that trainer value add. Always ask for permission. Annie, if it's all right with you, I'm going to push down on your heel. So when you push down on her heel, she's extending that isometric contraction that you both are creating. She's going to feel it activate her glutes. And so that would be a nice little tie-in to something that she specifically wants. So we got our wall push-ups, abductions. Crushes the wall push-ups. Too easy. Second set, do more. Do the abductions for more reps. Third set, crushing it as well. Maybe we do a push-up into a shoulder tap. Push-up, shoulder tap. Or maybe you do a push-up with her leg out because she's doing so well with them. And then you do even more abductions. Or maybe you do some wall squats because she's doing well. You use your experience and just how she's doing. So if she's crushing it that third round of this circuit, she does her push-ups and then her abductions. You know what? Maybe you want to do like some wall squats. That's fine. And so then we're going to get into, you have some bands and you do some banded rows. Again, I'm going to probably keep it. This would be a great time for you to determine how well she's doing. And if I'm watching her on Zoom and she's like gassed, and for us who are trained and conditioned and do this regularly, you're probably thinking right now, like, this is stupid. This isn't a hard workout. What are you even telling me right now, Chris? This isn't going to be hard. Your mind's going to be blown because Americans, the world, we're not conditioned. We're not strong. Our skeletal system sucks. We're getting osteoporosis younger than we ever had before. Our heart is just terrible. We have plaque all around it. The conditioned state of the body is just horrendous. So you're going to be wow the first time you do this. Like, oh, wow, that's crazy. But if she was killing it, the first one you start kind of easy. Second one, you could add in those squats to make it more challenging. Maybe even you want to throw in a curveball and you want to add in some bicep curls because she's doing so well. And she's like, no, dude, Mark, with her cool New York accent, Mark, I can totally do this. I got it. I don't know how you guys do it, but then you add it in there. And so you do some bicep curls based on the engagement that's happening. So then she's doing well and she can handle more. Well, then that's fine. Do 3 sets of 15 here on the band rows. And then you do some Palos, which is a core anti-rotation exercise. You hold those, you bring it above her head, change it up. And then you do some step ups because it was a lot easier than you thought it would be. Or maybe flip it around. The wall push-ups and the abductions are starting to tax her. When she's done with this circuit right here, she tells you, I'm getting a little winded. I'm getting a little woozy. So maybe all you do here is you take out the bands and you just do Palofs. You have her sit down and you work on some diaphragmatic breathing. So you have her put her hand on her chest and her stomach and you work on 2 here, 1 here. And you work on those breathing techniques. And maybe at the end, you do some seated stretching because she surprised you in a way that you weren't used to. And number 1 and number 2 were too much for her. So now she's just taxed. And so you do some stretching for 10, 15 minutes at the end. And if this were to happen, you reiterate it's normal. You're not going to be like, whoa, Annie, I thought you were going to be a lot better than this. Like, ooh, you really gassed out early. No, never. It's like, Annie, you did great today. As I told you in the beginning, Annie, my number 1 rule, the best workout. What did I say, Annie? What's the best workout? And that's what I'm going to say to her. What are you guys going to tell me?
The next one.
It's the next one. So you got through today. You know what, Annie? You didn't die. That's the most important thing. I have returners to kill people. You didn't die. That's awesome. You're stretching now. We're going to allow your heart rate to come down. It's called parasympathetic. It's called the parasympathetic nervous system. This is going to help you sleep better tonight. You're going to sleep better. You're going to feel better tomorrow. You may be a little sore, but most importantly, your mindset's going to begin to change because you want to make the change. And most importantly, Annie, you're the one who's making that change. I'm just guiding you. And so then here's your template for the first workout. Then you have data that you bring back. And then you go back to the drawing board and you say, okay, she did good. She did better than I expected. Oh, the squats were actually pretty challenging for her. She said that her knees hurt. The wall push-ups she couldn't do because her shoulder hurt. Now you gather that data, you go to the drawing board, and then you make that second workout. And that's why I'm not a big fan of drawing out a ton of workouts for a beginner during the first couple of workouts. It's okay to do. And I think you have another one in here, Mark, which is fun. But you have the second one where you say neat. What is neat, Mark? Is she dirty or what?
Non-exercise activity thermogenesis.
Good. So, Annie, can you do me a favor? Do you have an iPhone? Yeah, pull up your iHealth app, whatever. How many steps did you get yesterday? I got 1,200. Awesome. I only got 50. I don't walk very much, Annie, but you did more than I can. What would be a realistic challenge for you to hit tomorrow 1-6? Let her make that decision. She could surprise you, but then hold her to it. If she says, let's say, how many steps do you think she got? Let's give her a number. How many steps did she get today?
2,000.
Okay. You got 2,000 steps. Awesome. So Annie, how many steps do you think you can get tomorrow?
2,500.
2,500. All right. So that's your challenge. I want you to screenshot that and send it to me tomorrow. And so she sends it to you and she gets 3,100. This is your opportunity to take that screenshot, put her on Instagram. You don't need to tag her. You can tag her if she's okay with it. And you got 3,100. That's badass. That's 30%. I think my math's right. 30, maybe 25%, 22% more than what we expected. You did awesome. So cool. You put it in your story. My client crushed her goal. She got X amount more steps. Super proud of her. Can't wait to see you tomorrow for our next session. And so then you're encouraging her, you're motivating her to do better. And then when she comes in on the second one, you're going to gather more data. So how are you feeling? Anything talking to you differently? Oh, this was starting to hurt, or this will start to hurt, whatever. Take that data in. Maybe you need to modify the workout. But we're going to have, let's see, second. So explain this to me, Mark. How's this one going?
Yeah, so this was just two different theories that I had going on in my head. And this was, do I start lower body and then upper body, just from a multi-joint standpoint on some of the exercises. And if I felt that sitting exercises would be a lot more comfortable for her in the beginning, I would have this immediately on hand to be able to just switch gears and go, okay, we're going to do seated sit stand. So if she really struggled with that body weight squat, I didn't want to have to turn on a dime and just try to make up something. So I had this.
I like it. Yeah. I see exactly where you're going for it. It's smart on your behalf because you could be watching her on Zoom from that first workout. And so you have two options here. So I like that. That's being prepared. Better be prepared than not prepared. So you want to do your sitting on a chair and stand up 3x13. Now you feel like it's better for her to do. You can do calf raises. You can do more of those abductions. Maybe she has a band because you mentioned she does. So she sits down and does some clams maybe. If you feel like that you wanted to do some leg lifts, maybe she wants to do some cardio. I call a good cardio exercise to do with people who are kind of deconditioned or half jacks. So think of a jumping jack is like this. Half jack is just one side of the body at a time. So left leg, so you're abducting and going back and forth. And it's just to kind of keep the heart going and you let her know. So maybe instead of the seated calf raises, you do the stands into the half jacks. That's just a little cardio thing because she said she likes doing them, but because of her weight, I'm not going to have her do any type of jumping for now. And so that would be okay. And then you would do, and just because you're in a seated position, I'm okay with that. You're seated leg lifts, blah, blah, blah. Again, just if you want to do the leg extensions, that's fine. I mean, maybe you feel like, does she have a step that she impressed you from the last one? You could even throw in something here like a step up. So just you can have a couple cards ready. So you decide that she's doing well and she wants to do some step ups. Maybe you do 6 to 8 per leg. And then you over here, you're going to add in you're going to do the half jacks up here. So then here you can do that extensions or abductions this time with the driving the leg back, forward, flexions, whatever. You can even make it more cognitive, auditorial. So you teach her things like I teach my clients this. I tell them flexion is forward and out is called abduction. So Annie, I want you to flex your hip. She lifts her leg up. Great job. I want you to abduct your hip. She goes out. So in that standing position, I'm going to have her go flex, boom, abduction, boom. And then she has to do this little game, abduction, flex, abduction, flexion, abduction. So it's making it kind of fun. And then she has the value of a trainer because look at all these other dipshits that went through. They would just have her do the craziest shit and it wouldn't be appropriate. And she's going to feel terrible. They're just going to smoke her. They're not going to get her mind thinking or getting her challenged. So you add in some auditory cues like that. She's going to love it. Wow, that was a really cool workout. I never thought about doing something like that. And then you go into your other circuits here. You have your wall push-ups, which progressive overload. You do more of them. So maybe this time she did well with the 6 to 8, but she starts getting fatigued by 10. Do them again and try to get to 12. Or option B, she just crushed the wall ones. So you have her go towards a bench. And then you have her start doing some bench push-ups. Or you save the bench push-ups for the first time that you work with her. So those are the scenarios that you can use. I like how you have some bicep curls there. You can have some lateral raises. You could have front raises. You can do the curls sitting down. A banded rows, she did well on those. So this time maybe we do both of them. into a tricep kickback. I like that. And then what do you mean by a seated hyperextension?
So seated hyperextension would be sit in a chair, put a band underneath your feet, grab it, more towards your toes, and then hyperextend your back into the chair.
I got it. I think that you'll be surprised that you just ask her. It's like, Annie, if I were to ask you to get down on the ground and get back up, would you have any hesitation? Would you feel uncomfortable? Do you think you get lightheaded or dizzy? Would you feel comfortable getting down on the ground? She said earlier, she voiced it like she wants to be able to get up easier. So, if she feels comfortable getting on the ground, teach her how to do a bridge, because it's a pretty harmless exercise. Yep. And then you can teach her to drive through her heels. And then in that position, you could even turn her over and you could have her go to her knees and hold the push-up position and see how she does. Do you think, and Annie, I don't want you to do anything where you're not uncomfortable, but do you think you could go to your toes and hold the push-up position for 1 second? And just remember, worst case scenario, something feels off, you put your knees down immediately on the ground. I don't know, Annie, when you did those push-ups on your knees, or just holding that push-up position on your knees, you did really, really well. What do you think, Annie? Oh, no, Mark, I can definitely do it. I think I can hold that push-up position. And she holds it, and she's holding it. She's holding it. Good, good. Hold. Boom, good job. Worst case scenario, she goes to her knees. She's not going to die. So you're empowering her. You're making her feel better. And she goes, wow, that was really great. All right, so rest. If you want to get some water, get some water. She gets up. She goes over there and does it. Comes back. All right, round 2, Annie. And then maybe this time we do, it's the first time you did 10. Now we do 15. Then you maybe you do 20. You hold longer in the planks. There's a lot of ad lib with training. And those are things that, as long as you remember, you have FIT in your back pocket. And what does FIT stand for?
Frequency, intensity, time, and type.
Good. So if we're doing sets of 2, then just do 3 sets. Tell her that on Monday, remember we did 2 sets of wall sits. Today we're going to do 3, because you want to learn how she's feeling, if she's sore, shoulders talking to her, knees talking to her, whatever. So you can do more with the sets. Intensity can be doing more reps, slowing it down eccentrically. So for the wall push-ups on Monday, you did 6, rested 8, rested 10, and she was tapped. You're like, oh shit, like Chris was right. That was challenging for her. She reports back for her Wednesday workout like, I was pretty sore, Mark, for like a good 12 to 24 hours. Awesome. So we're going to do some more wall push-ups, but this time we're not going to do as many reps. We're going to slow down the tempo. So we're going to play a little red light, green light. Now, Annie, when I say stop, if you keep going, you owe me $1. Have fun with it, whatever. So 1, 2, stop. Annie, get your butt up. Get your butt up. Come on. There you go. Nice. Remember, we breathe in when we come down. Go. Stop. Hold, and push back. Nice job. That's number 1. We're just going to do 4 of these. Come down nice and slow. Stop. Hold. Now, Annie, you're doing really good. I want you to bring your left leg out. Nice. Continue to go down. Hold and up. That's 2 reps. We got 1 more. Come down super slow. Stop. Go. Nice. 1 more. Keep your right leg out. Put your left leg back. And nice. We did 4 reps. Nice job, Annie. So I'm showing you that we can change these little variables. Frequency is more sets. Intensity would be more reps, slowing down the tempo. Time could be how long you're working out. It could be time under tempo. And then you have the type. So maybe she has a band and you wrap it around a pole. So when she comes and sees you, Monday, Tuesday workouts are already designed. Wednesday, you give her new workouts, or the 3rd day or whatever, for the next week. You show her some single arm presses. You show her frontal step ups. You show her a step up into like a knee kick or something. Maybe you show her some bicycle curls. You show her a curl over here, and then a different face pull variation. So each week we're going to do the same exercises, but I will progressively overload by flip that around. Each week I'll show you new exercises, but I'm going to progressively overload the core movements that I feel appropriate. And we're going to focus on the squat, a step up, a push, and a pull for now. So what are some questions that you guys have about training someone who is this size?
I have a quick question, and great job, Mark, and thank you for bringing that. This is great to have real life examples, and congrats on booking her so quickly. Do you have any suggestions on vertical pull exercises?
So we think automatically the pull up or pull down. And if you don't have those, you may have to do like a hybrid version of a landmine pull variation. So it's like you're not here, which would be horizontal, not here, which is vertical. It's like if there's something that they can put it on at an angle and you can do one arm, get core engagement, you do both arms to be more of a high face pull. But that if you had a TRX, now for her, I don't know if that would be exactly appropriate by herself. But if you felt like when she's with you, it would be TRXs are usually at that angle. So I would put that into that vertical pull workout as well.
But and that's only, I mean, I guess technically that's not a vertical pull. We're just making it work based on the circumstances, right? Just to be clear.
Yep.
And then can I ask one other question of Mark?
Mm-hmm.
Mark, how did you guys come to 2 Zoom, 1 in person?
So thanks, Brandon, for the question. I think she was looking to do like 1 day a week. And then, because she probably lives about 45 minutes from me. And she has a little bit of a problem with transportation right now. So I threw out the option of adding in some Zooms so that we can, continue on her journey. I said, look, 1 day a week, if that's what you could do, it's great. But what are some other options? I mean, I have no problem doing Zoom. And honestly, for the first month, 2 months, I'm not as concerned with loading you up with additional weights right now because she doesn't have much.
Yeah.
She did purchase the bands last night. So she'll have them by the time we get rolling. And until then, I'm just going to use some, soup cans or things like that. But it was like a stretch towards the end of the conversation when I threw that in. And she said, absolutely. She said, actually, would we be able to do more? I said, whatever you need. So, I think initially a year ago, I probably would have just said, okay, 1 day a week. And that's great if that's all you could do. But I guess, after learning just some basic skills of negotiation, you throw out whatever you can. And she jumped right at it. So,
and what is she charge? What are you charging her per session?
So it would have been $65 an hour in person. And I told her $55 an hour Zoom.
Great. So what cut do I get out of that? And I'm just joking. So I like how you proposition that, because now what you can do is if she's consistent and she does that first week, then you can put it back on her and say, you know what, Annie, you crushed it. So here's what I'm willing to do. If you can crush it for week 2, I'm going to throw in a 3rd Zoom call for free. How's that sound? Oh my God, that'd be awesome. I think I can do that. Really good. Here's a little kicker though. You got to bring a coworker, a friend, someone else. They're going to come onto that Zoom call and I'm going to work with both of you and we're going to do it together. Because one of the goals that I have as a trainer is I want to start growing my business. And as you have goals, I have goals. I'm willing to give you this workout for free. I just want you to bring someone else in here. How does that sound? It's always how you proposition. So, I can bring some. I can definitely bring some. I will let you know that afterwards, I'm going to see if I can get them on a call. I'm going to try to get them on an assessment just like I did with you. But here's the even better part. If I get them to sign up, and you can kind of help me out, edge them, push them a little closer. If they were to sign up, whatever package they do, I'll give you 25% referral bonus. So let's just pretend they sign up for $1,000. I'll give you $250. Then you can put that towards more training, or that's cash for you, whatever you like. I want to help you, but as I said, I'm trying to grow my business, and I'd really appreciate if you could help me out as well. And that's respect. They're going to like that, because how trainers ask for referrals today is shady. It's like, right when they give you your credit card, like if you know anyone that wants to train with me, send it my way. It's like aggressive. It's like, no, I'm trying to grow my business. People respect that. And you talk to them about your business, what you're trying to do, like, I might be able to help. I would love to do sometime, Annie. This is pretend hypothetically in the future, a month in. And we're kicking ass. You talked that you work with underwriters. Do you think that there might be people at your office who could benefit from what we've been doing? Maybe you can talk to your boss. I'll do it for free the first time, but maybe there's a time throughout the day where I can hop on a Zoom call and I'll take everyone through an at their desk home workout routine. Because what can happen potentially is the boss starts talking to the boss. It's the boss's boss, is whoever's boss, and they can start paying for the sessions. And maybe we even start doing 1 or 2 workouts a week at your work. And then that's corporate wellness right there. That's a whole nother monster that we haven't even talked about yet. So there's so many cool avenues that we can go down as long as you're thinking bigger, but you got to come back, as Mark is doing, is you focus on the person in front of you and you help them get their goals.
Hey, Chris, I had a question on, I started them out with 15 sets, and what you said makes a lot of sense because she's brand new to it, goes 68. I was thinking of the ligaments and tendons. Any thoughts on that? And hopefully you noticed I put in there 13, not the magical 15 or 12.
I like that. That's good. So that's good thinking there. If we were to load her up to that maximal volitional fatigue of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, yeah, that wouldn't be appropriate. But it's body weight. And as we do with someone who is a beginner who's more conditioned. So say you're working with a younger Chris, and I'm in my, I'm 14 and I can't do a pull-up. It's okay to do 3 reps eccentrically because it's body weight. So eccentric is fine, but when it comes to concentric, it's also fine as long as we're not loading it up. You don't want to overload the tissue too much, or the demand is going to overstretch the capacity of that soft tissue.
Okay, got it.
Do you have any other questions on a hypothetical female client who wants to lose some weight and has restrictions with what she can do at work or at home because of COVID, but also just bans and not too much stuff? Awesome workout, Mark. I think this is a great plan. I didn't make many changes. I just kind of have my own little 2 cents to it. I see that, I like your little neat challenges that you got in there. Do some challenges at home. You can challenge your clients as she's going week to week. As I was working with my client today, I started this no days off challenge and brought on a couple new clients, and we'll talk about it in class tomorrow with streams of revenue, because I'm always trying to get creative and expand our brand. But I was talking to my client, and she said that I'm really having a hard time with my diet. And I said, great, love to help you with it. And this is the first session, right? And you know me, I don't talk about this a lot, but it's about what the client wants. So she was like really frustrated because she said, like, my body isn't changing. I don't know if it's my metabolism or what, but I would really like to take a look at my nutrition. So definitely, we'll do that. Here's what I want you to do, though. For the next 2 days, I want you to take a photo of every single thing that you eat. And so, down this way or this way?
The first one. Thank you.
Here?
Yep.
So I'm going to have her take photos of her food, and then pending, she's a vegetarian. And so I might challenge her to eliminate a food for a week. And this is something I like to do. And I would like to see the RD perspective on this. I'll tell people to eliminate carbs. I'll tell them to eliminate fast food, but it's for a week to challenge the mindset. It's not because the food's bad. I'm going to say, from what I got, you have a lot of bread in there. So my challenge for you is to give up bread for a week, replace it with fruits. What's your favorite fruit? Banana. Awesome. So choose bananas over bread for 1 week. The next week, I'll give you another challenge. We'll go back to bread. It's not like we're taking it out forever. It's just, I'm going to give it up for a little bit. That's kind of like what people do, what they call it, like dry December or dry November or whatever month we're on. I'm not dry, but they choose certain things. Like that could be a challenge that you could work with your clients on. Any other questions? Great questions tonight, Brandon.
Chris, I appreciate you doing this. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyone else? Nope. All right. So again, as you see, like I have my preset ones for our guide that we're going to put out, but I like this stuff even more because it's real life, and then we can get some feedback from Mark. So I do record all these. We'll put them into YouTube, so people can watch these. Our goal is always to get more exposure. So we always appreciate if you are in the class to film a little segment, put it in your story, tag us. Janie's going to hop on class tomorrow for a little bit, and we're going to go over how she's going to get more involved as we go month to month. But we're here for you guys. So any situations that you have, whether if it's training, whether if it's getting clients, if it's sales, if it's programming, client acquisition, prospecting, whatever, that's what we're here for. So enjoy the rest of your nights, and we will see you tomorrow bright and early.
Chris, can I ask a quick logistic question?
Yep.
The programming. Okay, so the ones you're doing up to this week, you're going in YouTube they're on YouTube for free, right?
Yep.
What's the plan after that?
Yep. So after I go through, so we'll do 1 week free for January 11th. So just to kind of lure people in to see how it is. And then after that first week, then these will be part of the tier 3 and people will have access to those. And then we'll have other instructors going through plans as well that they've experienced or client questions for them. So you'll get a taste of Barack and Jared, as well as Jimmy, maybe, and Max in San Diego. So they'll start doing these as well for more classes.
So then are you keeping them all in the Patreon, or is only some stuff sticking in the Patreon?
No,
forever?
they'll stay in there. We'll review at the end of the month of each cycle, I guess, to see which ones we'll keep in there. Because one of the problems that we had, and it's, until we have the big bucks and we can have our own platform, but people go into the Patreon, they're confused as shit. Like, where do I go? How do I do this? What do I do? And so I did have a guide that helped, but if we can just keep it as minimal amount of videos, just your basic ones, and then each month we're able to put new ones in there, I think it's just going to make it a lot easier to navigate. Yeah, so there will be, because I mean, for the video guide, I mean, you won't even need a video guide because it's just going to be new content that we're putting in there.
Hey, Chris, how about the YouTube? You said the previous videos are on YouTube. Is there a link to that?
Yep. So it's just our Show Up Fitness YouTube. Actually, okay. I think if you look in the chat right now, if you scroll up.
Yep.
So that's going to go to
there
our YouTube.
It is.
Make sure to subscribe, and then you'll get, I mean, the last 6 weeks, we have a lot of just these programming ones.
Awesome. Thank you.
All righty, y'all. Stay safe, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks, Chris.
Mm-hmm.